Welcome to the Knits and Things podcast. It's been quite a while. Is anybody even there? Did you give up on me? Don't give up just yet. So my name is Heather. I am your host for the Knits and Things podcast. It's been a very, very long time since I recorded. I have wanted to record, and it just has not happened. The times that I've been available... Sorry. I saw something that looked a little bigger than squirrel-ish on my porch there. But it was just a squirrel. It was maybe a little closer than I thought it was. Okay, so the times that I thought I was going to be able to record, I was not. Things have been crazy. You know, I started the side business where I'm a Cabby consultant, and Cabby is a designer clothing company. It's all home-based business, and in-home sales, and that has kept me very busy. That, along with my normal teacher duties and mom duties, and things have been crazy. So what I think I'm going to do is, while school is in session, just record once a month, and just say, hey, either the beginning of the month or the end of the month, probably the end of the month since I'm recording now, although I might be able to squeak another one out before school starts again, because today is the first day off for my break, and I have a total of 16 days for my break this time. So I may be able to get another recording out before I go back to school, so that might make it the first of the month. But either way, it's going to be about once a month recording, and that way I don't have to worry about yet another time not meeting schedule, following according to deadlines, etc., etc. So once a month, and I hope that'll be enough. And I'm thinking that with the little bit of time that I have in my schedule these days, that's probably all I'm going to have time, and that's probably about when I'm going to have things to actually show, because there's a lot to show today because I haven't recorded in so long, and because it's holiday time, but I don't know that during the last couple months there has been much to show. So, on we go. Oh, and I'm just realizing that I don't have the one thing I really wanted to show. I will show that at the very end. Today I'm also going to announce the winners for the Diabetes Awareness Month Knit Along. That will be again at the very end when I can do the drawing. I just realized I had time to record today, this afternoon, before it gets really crazy and busy here. So I'm going to go ahead and record now and put all of the administrati in later. So let's get on to it. So I'm still gonna keep my same segments, thing one, thing two, although I can tell you right now there's not much thing two. I don't think I've touched my spinning wheel in about 6 months. Horrible. So thing one is still going to be knitting, in case you needed a reminder. I know I did. Thing one is still knitting, and so I've been knitting lots for Christmas. My Cabby season is kind of winding down. Cabby does a fall-winter season and a spring-summer season, and spring-summer is getting ready to start. I know, it just got cold, right? Well, for some of us. But so the fall-winter season is kind of coming to a close. I have done all my shows for the season. Well, I've done all the ones I'm going to do for the season, and I'm actually selling off my samples, my inventory that I had on hand, and getting ready to gear up to go to the next bit of training to learn about the new season. So I've had time to knit. Woo! So what I've done is, and some of these things I've been working on for a very long time, because if you remember, I used Camp Loopy over the summer to start my Christmas knitting. And so this is not one, but this is, well, so let's start with that. So I knit for my sister a shawl. I think I've shown you guys this before, but now it's blocked. I don't know that it looks much different because it's mainly garter stitch. This was a shawl that I did for my sister. Don't ask me the name of it, but it's got Orenburg lace in it, which I thought was very appropriate for my sister. And this was the Camp Loopy prompt where you had to knit in your favorite color. And so these are actually my sister's favorite colors, the purple and the greens and the blues and the browns. And it worked out beautifully. I believe I have Madeline Tosh and I don't know. I will try and make some show notes in my abundant time off and tell you exactly which yarns were used, but these were gorgeous yarns. They were all MCN blends, I believe, so it's very nice and soft and squishy and lovely. There was actually a little bit, the purple at the very edge is a Cascade, whatever their fingering is. I'm not all that familiar with Cascade, but then the other two were lovely MCN blends, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. So I can't wait until she opens that up on Christmas. And I do still have some ends I need to weave in. I blocked, but I didn't do I didn't do all the weaving in or snipping. So, which of course would be good to do after you weave in, is the snipping part. So that still has a lot of finishing to do. But that was for my sister. I have knit socks for my mother, and now I'm going back today and doing the Afterthought heel while she's away. I was afraid to try it when she was around because I knew it was going to be a big deal, and I knew she'd be like interested to see what was going on, so I waited until she was gone today. So I knit just a straight sock. I did the toe, and then I just knit with my, there's a pretty plain vanilla-ish pattern called Wendelin the Weird, and it's got the ribbing there in the front. It's supposed to have the ribbing on the back too, but with doing the Afterthought, and I did it as a true Afterthought, so I actually went back and snipped a stitch this afternoon. I didn't know exactly where I was going to be putting the heel to start the ribbing on the back as well, so I just left the ribbing on the front. Pretty plain vanilla-ish, and with an Afterthought heel. So I'm coming back and doing the Afterthought now, but I knit these in front of my mother and everything. So she, I don't think, has an idea that they're for her, and I went back into her room and grabbed a pair of her socks so I could kind of approximate the heel a little bit better. So I do believe the foot is going to be the right length for her. She wears about a 6.5 or 7 ladies shoe, so pretty small foot. But then I think the cuff is a little shorter than what I would normally do if I was knitting a regular sock. But again, this is the first time I've done an Afterthought heel sock, so I think it's working out well. So this is the first one. I have the second one, wherever it is. I have the second one marked for where I will snip, but I'm just starting. So this I did earlier, and I posted a little bit to Instagram, and I posted before the scream. So when I had my scissors ready, I took a picture with my phone, and then I set everything down, and I snipped that stitch, and when I snipped that stitch, I really did scream, because it was a little scary. But then it was actually pretty easy. I followed a tutorial online. I don't have the name, so I'll try and link that one too. But it was, an Afterthought heel tutorial where, she recommends that you wash and block the sock first, or I guess you just block it, so that the yarn is very used to where it wants to be, and you can see the waist yarn that I picked out. You can see how kinky curly it still is. Where did it go? See, the yarn was definitely in the stitch. It knew what it wanted to be, so I had very little issues picking up those stitches once I kind of unraveled from where it was knit. So I think it worked out very nicely, and I plan on doing that a lot more. I actually have a pair of socks going for a friend. It's very similar to that. I've been working on them for years, and it's kind of a sock that I just kind of carried around with me, and once I decided that I wanted to do this with that as well, I just kept going and going and going and going on it, and so those will become Afterthought heel socks too. But I love that idea, because you can just knit and not care about where you are, just keep going and going and going, and then go back and do the Afterthought, do the heel when you're ready, or when you know who the sock is for. So that's a really great idea, I think. What else? Hats. And excuse me if I'm sniffing. I might actually do some pausing here and there, because I'm getting like the beginnings of a cold, so I have like my throat is scratchy and I'm getting like the little drip. So if I'm sniffing, I'm sorry. I don't mean to gross anybody out. Alright, so shawl for mom, or shawl for sister, socks, hats. I've been doing hats galore for the little people in my life. So I gave a coworker the opposite version of this hat. This hat, and I don't remember the designer's name, but I do know it was called the Hawl, H-A-W-L, so kind of like a combination of hat and cowl and shawl, although it's not big enough for a shawl. But this is the Hawl for Kids, H-A-W-L for kids, which is a little hat, and it would probably go on my head if I would dare to take off my hat for you, but my hair is wet under here, and I'm sick, so I'm not taking off my hat. So, you knit just a little hat. It's got a little bit of ribbing at the bottom. It's supposed to be kind of slouchy. And then you knit an I-cord that you weave through some holes there. Ooh, was that a horrible weaving job? I think it was. You weave through little holes so that you can cinch it up, but you can also undo it. If you undo the ties, then it will go wide enough for them to pull down around their neck so that it's a cowl. Pretty cool, right? So the designer said that they did it for their own children, or was it grandchildren, that kind of requested it because they had seen other friends wearing that style. And I thought that was a great idea because it's kind of, you know, unisex. The picture showed boys and girls in the same style. And I thought it was a good way to use up yarn. So this is Neighborhood Fiber. Some little mini skeins of blue that I got one time years and years ago when I went to a dye workshop at her house in Baltimore when she lived there the first time. And then this that I made the I-cord out of is some leftover Koigu. So I thought those matched pretty well. So this hat was the Neighborhood Fiber hat and the Koigu tie. The other hat was Koigu hat Neighborhood Fiber tie, and I gave that already to my coworker for her daughter, and I got the cutest picture of her in it. I would show you the picture, but the daughter is on the potty at the time, so not appropriate. Not appropriate for public consumption, only for auntie consumption. So there's one hat, which is actually two. So this is going to go to one of my should-have-been nieces, which is my my son's cousins, but that I am no longer technically married to the family. Yes. So that's for one sister. And this hat, I made a little jester hat, is for the second sister. And see the little cute little jester flaps? And so when you roll it up, you roll it up and put it on, and it should be, once you give it like a little flip, this is a woolly worm head pattern, the jester hat. And once you, when you put it on, she has the brim is kind of folded up to make it the right length, so it'll fit on your head the right way. And when it fits on your head the right way, the jester corners kind of puff out a little bit, so that it looks a little cuter. And of course, yes, I still have ends to weave in, but this hat was very nice and interesting. It was a free pattern on Ravelry, and it was just called Jester by Woolly Wormhead. And I actually held two strands of sock yarn together, and it was the Cheapy sock yarn, Premier Yarns. It's a Deborah Norville acrylic. Is it just acrylic? No, it's superwash. Oh, hold on. I used some good yarn for this. This is from the craft store. Oh my goodness. This is 50% superwash merino, 25% rayon made from bamboo, and 25% nylon. Hello, what was I thinking? So I had this thinking that I would do like socks for little people, and ended up doing hats instead. So I held the two strands together. They weren't exactly matched up, but they did a pretty good job, and I like that it looks like pretty solid striping. I think it did wonderfully. I just happened to, I guess, pull from the right place. At the very tippy top, it kind of gets off, but the striping throughout the body of the hat was very good. So I still have this to do. I was thinking maybe I would do another one of these for a friend that we're doing some traveling with over the break. But I also was thinking maybe socks for a different friend, actually the mother of the friend. So I don't know. This is next in my list of things to knit with or to knit up. So I had also gotten this thinking I would do socks. So I don't know. But there's another hat, and then I also did a hat for my nephew, and it is so cute. This is, I think, called Ethan the Aviator. I have not put the buttons on yet, but I've done all the knitting, and it is so cute. So you're supposed to put buttons on either side here, and it's got the cute little cable-y top, which looks very pointy, but when it's on somebody's head, it actually flattens out. I had my mother try it on because she has a small head. And then it's got the cute little aviator ear flaps. So this was an interesting construction, a little fiddly, but the final product, Beautiful. Very cute. Very cute. And I actually ran out a little bit. This yarn, these two yarns were Leading Men Fiber Arts. This yarn is leftover from this hat that I did last year. And I ran out before I wanted to. I assumed that I would have enough yarn to do the flaps and all of the garter. And you can see that I had to do a little bit of the garter in the tan, but no biggie. So I still have a lot of the tan ball left because that's all I use that for. And I think the tan color is called Sand. I don't remember what the blue color is called, but that is the next hat. So little people are getting hats this year. That was my knitting commitment level this year. So everybody got hats. So I think that is it for what I'm currently knitting, although no, it's not, because I cast on when I decided I was done, except for my mother's socks. When I decided I was done, I cast on, there's yarn that I've been meaning to use. It is Debbie Bliss Alpaca Silk Aran. It's these little tufty balls like this. I have 8 of these that I got from Wool Winders. Is that the name of the yarn shop? It's a yarn shop, but it's also a booth at places like Stitches and Maryland Sheep and Wool. But it actually is a local shop as well. It's in the very northwest part of Maryland. So it is a local yarn shop. It's not very local to me. It is still in the same state, and I do live in a pretty small state, but it's not very easy to get to. It takes a lot of driving to get there. But when I went there several years ago, I picked up a bag of this, which was 8 balls. So I have about 700-ish yards to do. I'm going to do a brioche infinity cowl. I've been wanting an infinity cowl. I've made several for other people. I've never made one for myself, so now is the time. So I cast on yesterday just a general free pattern, and basically it's 46 stitches, and I'm going back and forth in brioche stitch. And that is it. That's all I'm doing, is I'm just going to keep knitting until all of the yarn is used up, and hope that that's enough to wrap around. If it's, if it gets to that point where it will wrap around before I've used all the skeins, then I'll figure out something to do with the leftovers. But I'm just going to keep knitting and hope to knit up all the yarn. And of course, it's number one, it's brioche, which is very squishy anyway, but it's alpaca and silk. Gorgeous, yummy. So I think it's going to be lovely around my neck. So I'm excited for that, and I figure that's something pretty mindless that I can do. We are going to be doing some traveling this holiday season, just after Christmas. We're actually going to be gone over New Year's, and we are doing a cruise. So we're all excited because we reserved our beverage packages, which I still can't stand. The first cruise I ever went on years ago, you didn't have to pay extra for sodas and such. The soda machines, you just walked up to them and put your cup up there, and so it really kind of irritates me that they charge you so much for water and sodas. But we did it. Water for me, soda for the kid. Last year I was a little meaner, and last year I made him drink water too. I let him drink a soda at dinner each night, but that was it. So I'm being a little nicer. I'll let him have soda this time, because we're pretty good, and we don't drink soda. We do not have soda in the house. We don't drink soda on a regular basis, and matter of fact, anytime he has it, he has diet soda anyway, which is part of my reason that we don't do it a lot, because you may not be getting the sugar from a regular sugary soda, or the high fructose corn syrup, rather, but you're getting artificial sweetener, so we don't drink it a lot, so I figured it's vacation, it's a treat, I'll let you have some. So, again, water for me, soda for him. I'll be taking wine with me, though. Right in the suitcase. So that is it for the knitting, finally. Yes? Yes, no, it's not. Well, it kind of is. So it's all that I'm doing right now. I have nothing for thing 2. Again, I have not been spinning at all. Matter of fact, I saw on Instagram, did you guys see this? Where people were doing the Make-A-Wish type of thing, where you grant people's wishes. People wish for different things, and you can grant their wish and say, oh, I have what you're wishing for. I'll give it to you, no problem. So I was looking on that, and I think I granted one wish, definitely. The second wish, I offered at the same time someone else offered, so do I still give that? Do I not? I'm thinking I have enough stash that I can just give it anyway. Who cares? So I granted 2 wishes. I do not need another stinking thing, so I didn't put any wishes out there for myself, but I thought that was pretty neat. So I am actually going to be sharing some of my top and roving and things, and just little samples of things that I know that I like to spin with somebody who is a new-ish knitter. Do I know who the person is? I'm not going to remember the name to say who it is. But if it was you, you know who you are. And yarn will be coming your way, and I think it's going to, like, Finland or something. So I thought that was cool, too, because when do you ever get to mail a package to Finland, right? So that is it for what I'm actively knitting, but I'm thinking, you know, we're getting the year's drawing to a close. I'm thinking about things that I want to do in the next year, and I definitely want to spin more. I'm really, you know, in the last couple of days, I've really felt, as I'm knitting up, you know, the Christmas things, I'm really thinking, I would really like to spin over the break. So definitely one of these days before we take off for our trip, I would like to just sit and do some spinning. Maybe it'll be tomorrow. We'll see. It might be the days when my son is with his dad in visiting his family. And just some quiet time, I would like to just be able to sit and spin, because I do find it so relaxing. I love relaxing spinning and watching a movie, usually something I've seen before, so I don't have to keep my eye on it, because I do like to watch a little more when I spin, rather than, like, if I'm just knitting on something stockinette, I can watch the movie and not really watch what I'm knitting. But when I'm spinning, I feel like I want to keep an eye on it a little more. So audiobooks or movies that I'm already familiar with and kind of just want to have on in the background, I love it. I find it so peaceful and relaxing. So maybe that's what I need to do with my 16 days off. But the next thing I'm thinking about is, you know, for the coming year, I want to spin some more. I might make myself a goal of X number of braids to get through. Just to do that, even though I don't like making hard goals like that, because I don't like feeling like I didn't meet the goal. But I also, knowing how limited my time is, and just the way things are going lately with the new schedule and the shift in the way my life is going right now, I feel like when I think about my knitting, I'm not really even thinking about sweater knitting that much. Like hats, yes. Socks, awesome. Sweaters, because I feel like, when is it going to get finished? It's not going to get finished in the season that I intended and wanted it for. So I've been thinking about different things like that, and how I can keep making sure that I have this wonderful, creative, relaxing outlet in my life and not feel like I'm always behind. So I know two of the podcasts that I love to watch are Kim, who is Sock Bunny, and Hannah, who is the Traveling Sock Knitter. And both of those ladies have like their own kind of personal sock club, personal yarn club, and they always have like a monthly goal, like these are the socks I'm knitting on this month, or this is the yarn I'm knitting up this month. I know Kim from Sock Bunny does her personal sock club, where she has the sock yarn that she's making socks out of. Hannah kind of does it a little more broadly, where I think she usually knits socks, but she says in her group that it can be it can be some other type of knitting that you do, and just as long as you're finishing something each month. So I would like to try that, and what I'm doing, I'm not going to do it in the baggy method because I don't have anywhere to store that, but what I do have is I have these little bins that I got for my cabbie clothing to store the jeans in, and so it's just a little cube square, and it's got a lid so that it's kind of concealed and cutesy looking, and I'll keep it in my bedroom. But the fall and winter clothing line is a little bit bulkier than the spring and summer line that we're coming into now. So I've got it all full of sock yarn now, and I actually have more than 12 skeins, and I'm going to tell you what my thinking is. So I've got more than 12 skeins in there because I'm going to allow myself to kind of say, no, and put something back 3 times throughout the year. Not all the time, but 3 times, because I know myself, and I know that if I'm not motivated, if I'm not into that yarn at the particular moment, I won't be interested in knitting on it. Now, if it's one of the only things I'm knitting on, that might be a little bit more feasible, a little bit more doable to know that I'll get that done. But if I'm not really motivated by the yarn, I'm probably going to be more easily swayed to put it aside or put it down and not work on it. So I just wanted to kind of show you the different yarns I'm going to do. So my goal is once a month, pick a yarn, knit a pair of socks. If I finish early, I'm going to move right on to the next game because, like I said, I do have more than 12 in here. You know, kind of allowing for myself to be like, I don't feel like knitting on that one right now, or I hadn't really wanted to knit plain. I would, you know, I was really kind of hoping for self-striping so that I can choose again. Or if I choose a self-striping, I'm like, I really don't want to do that, then I can kind of choose again. So I'm going to show you what I have, and hopefully by the end of the year I will have 12 pairs of socks. Not all for me necessarily, because some of these that are in here are already slated for other people, but this way I've got a good variety to choose from. I also am going to start out the year with the Knitters Brewing Company. They have a mystery sock getting ready to come out in January. So my first sock, actually probably not my first sock. My first sock will probably already be started because I'm going to start something on the cruise because we'll be doing so much traveling. So I will already have a pair of socks started once the new year starts, and their sock, I think the information about the sock is coming out on January 5th, which is actually my first day back to school. So that'll be probably 2 pairs that I'll be working on in January, hopefully, you know, one to be finished and then the next one to go on. So hopefully at the beginning of each month I can start at least a new pair of socks. Whether or not I'm finished with the previous pair doesn't really matter because then I'll kind of be working on them at the same time. Does that make sense? I hope so. So without further ado, here's the lovely yarn that I have picked out. So I have some that were in my stash upstairs and some that were in the stash downstairs. I'll show you all of them. I have this lovely Argyria yarn. This is a 400 yard self-striping. The tag on this is really funky. I kind of was putting this in, I was kind of making this some of Sadie's yarn because I was remembering the tag, and with her Undead Yarns name, I kind of have always thought about this. When I think about this in my stash, I think, oh, that's Sadie's yarn. And it's not. So this is Rainy Days and Woolly Dogs. This is www.gothsocksyarn.com, and this is the Heaven or Hell colorway. I think I got this in a swap. Love that. I've been waiting to knit this. Can you see you can see the sparkle, right? Yes. Awesome. That might have to be the ones I cast on for New Year's. Awesome. I have a ball of Stray Cat socks. I do not know the colorway for this one, but this one is kind of Redskins color. If you are a football fan, you know what the Redskins are doing right now. This yarn that I got after my trip, but I got this to kind of remind me of my trip to New Orleans 2 summers ago. Yeah, not this past summer, but the summer before that. This is Colorphobia, which is an Etsy shop, and this is the Circus colorway, and it is a self-striping. So there's another self-striping. And then I have this lovely skein that my sister gave me. I also have a staple in my bag. No! This is some trekking that my sister gave me, and it's called the Jamaica. The colorway is Jamaica. Gorgeous oranges and browns and yellow. So there's that one. My dad's getting ready to come upstairs. Can you hear him listening?
Christmas presents.
This is from a Harry Potter colorway years ago. Cosmic Fibers is, I don't even know if she's dyeing yarn still. This is a bamboo sock yarn. It's 60% superwash merino, 30% bamboo, and 10% nylon. And this is the Half-Blood Prince colorway. Can't wait for that. So I'm just going to keep picking. This is another trekking colorway that I thought would be good for manly socks, either my son or my father. Here's another trekking. I love trekking, and I found it really cheap on a discount, like a clearance bin online. This one is the Sahara colorway, and I love that this one is kind of the Tweety effect. This yarn I took the very first year that we went to Diabetes Camp, Lions Camp Merrick, and I started it in one pair of socks, and I didn't like the pattern, so I took it out. It's a fleece artist skein, 65% merino, 20% kid mohair, 10% nylon, 5% silk, all kinds of stuff. But I love all the different colorways. And I started this as the Bellatrix socks, and it didn't work out right because they've got so many of those slips and everything, and I don't think that the structure of the yarn is right for that. So try something else with that. I have another of the big box yarns. This is Patons Kroy in the, what was this colorway? Gray Brown Marl. Again, looks like manly socks to me. I have another set of self-striping. These I was going to do for my son. This is Knit Picks Felici that I actually got this from Steph of Knitting Samurai. So there's those. Oh, and I am going to do, Steph from Knitting Samurai has a short sleeve sweater knit along just like in the new year, and I'm going to participate in that as well. I don't know how far I'll get. I hope I'll finish, and I'm hoping that she does Miranda, or that somehow I can do Miranda in with the rules that she comes up with. But she is doing a knit along for a short sleeved sweater in the beginning of the year. So you should, if you don't watch her already, you should, because she's very cute. And she gets a lot done, and she has 2 babies. How in the world? This is unnamed, but I believe this is a skein of Jitterbug that I got at a local yarn shop that was going out of business. I took it off. I took the tag off because I was actually going to knit it into something, and then I changed my mind. So that is there with no tag, but I believe it's Jitterbug, which is a Collinette yarn. I have this beautiful, and this is one where I'm thinking maybe this is going to be something other than socks, like maybe a hat or a shawl, but it still would be beautiful. This is Maple Creek Farm Fine Wools. This is a superwash wool bamboo nylon blend. It's 347 yards. So that's, I don't know, that would be interesting. That would be actually nice socks to wear, like to work, like it would be dress socks. And they feel very cool. So I bet they would be good if you have sweaty feet. Maybe. It's what it makes me think of when I feel it. There's more. There's another Patons Kroy. This one is the blue striped rag colorway. I only buy these, like I feel like they're less expensive than like a Collinette Jitterbug anyway, but I feel like when I buy these, I have to buy them on sale. Like I can't spend the $6 a skein that they want me to, which would be $12 for a pair versus like $30 a pair. I feel like when I buy these, I have to buy them for like $2.99. Right? So that one is there. I have another skein of Jitterbug. This one really is Jitterbug. Again, I don't know the colorway. The tag is long gone. And I'm thinking I used to have 2 of these. I might have traded one of them away. But this colorway reminds me of mint chocolate chip ice cream, which is why I got it. And this will definitely be socks for me, not for anybody else. A couple more. 3 more. So this one is Lorna's Laces. And I believe this is called Firecracker, the colorway. Very nice. So definitely a skein per ball. This would be good to do as afterthought heels, just so that I can put a different color as the heel if I need to, so I can use up all of the yarn, because these are pretty small skeins or small balls, I think. I do believe they are, oh, I'm sorry, the colorway is Flames. They are only 215 yards per skein, or per ball, per cake now, since I've wound it up. But, so that might be a good one to do as another pair of afterthoughts. All right, 2 more. This one is BFL sock from Dragonfly Fibers. Look at that red. So it looks a little pink there. I'm hoping that maybe it's a little more red than it seems. So it looks, yeah, it looks very pink. I'm looking at it compared to the stop sign on my camera, which is right there. But it's definitely a gorgeous, gorgeous red. It is kind of a berryish red, so I don't know that it would be good for my face. It's not the red to wear against my face, but against my feet, of course. Yes, and this one is Superwash BFL, and the colorway is Sea Star. Gorgeous. And then the last one is a Crazy Zarbor Ball. I've never had Zarbor Ball before, and so when I went to my friend Mia's birthday party at our local yarn shop, hello, right? This is what I purchased, was a skein of Zarbor Ball, and this one is, I can never tell. Yeah, there's the colorway there. I'm not even going to try and say it because I know I can't. So that's the colorway. And crazy, great. And I got this one because it's the Crazy Zarbor Ball, so it's definitely applied yarn. And I know I'd heard people say before that the Zarbor ball is not all that sturdy, that it doesn't hold up that well. So that's the one I got. And this one is a superwash wool and nylon blend. So hopefully that will be good. Again, this is probably going to be, because the Zarbor ball is, you know, that does that crazy striping, this will probably just be plain vanilla socks again. So this is my knitting for the year, definitely. That is it. I will probably also knit a sweater for my son, which is like knitting a sweater for myself these days because he's as tall as I am. He's actually like a third of an inch away from being as tall as I am. So I have not admitted to his face yet that he's as tall as I am, because technically he's not. But I always knew. He's 12. He's going to be 13 in February, so just after the new year. So yeah, I knew he would catch me at this time. I'm sure by the time his birthday actually gets here that he will be taller than me. And his shoulders are wide, and he's a big kid. So knitting a sweater for him is like knitting a sweater for myself. So I've always wanted to knit him a vest, but he's always so warm. He's got short sleeves on right now, and I have on this and a shirt underneath and a hat. So always warm. But that's about it. When I do the short sleeve knit along, I know I mentioned, and I know I'm all over the place. I do have show notes, so imagine what it would be like if I didn't. When I do the short sleeve knit along, I said I wanted to do Miranda, and I think I want to do Miranda out of this, which is the Silky Wool XL. I got an email first thing in the morning, one morning, that I checked from, was it Discount Brand Name Yarns, DBNY? And they had the Silky Wool XL at the time that I wanted to do this big poncho knit along with my knitting group. And I thought that this, being that it was the XL, I thought it would be heavier than this, which they say this is a worsted weight. This is DK maybe, but I don't call that worsted. This yarn that I knit my nephew's hat out of is worsted, and you can you see the difference? This one is, the blue is definitely plumper. So I don't really consider this worsted, but I think I could make it work for Miranda if I chose a different size. Now, this is what scares me. I have knit 2 sweaters before in Elspeth Lavold Silky Wool, and I've had gauge issues both times. But I'm hoping the XL is different, right? Maybe. I don't know. I really love the feel of this. I like how warm it is, but light. So I really want something to work out of this. I really, really do. So, and I think that is it. I've shown you my knitting. I've shown you my Christmas knitting. I've talked about what I want to do next. Short sleeve sweater knit along. Sock knitting and spinning is going to be what I'm doing. I told you I'm going to record once a month. And that's about it. So I'm going to stop the recording now, but I will put in the winners for the Diabetes Awareness Month. Remember, one is going to be a pattern winner, and one is going to be a spinning winner of the Diabetes Awareness Month knit along. Remember, one is going to be the winner of a pattern, and one will be the winner of a skein of yarn that I have spun. So I will post both names at just after I stop the recording, and I will also post a picture in the group, and probably here as well, of the different things that I've been talking about, like my finished product for the Diabetes Awareness Month knit along, which was my mystery shawl from Stephen West, which turned out gorgeous. I will also post a picture of the skeins that are available for choosing for the handspun winner. And anything else? Was there something else that I forgot to show? No, I think that was it. So until next time, happy holidays. So I think we're finishing up Hanukkah right now. It is Monday, December 22nd. So Christmas is coming. So is New Year's. If you celebrate Kwanzaa, happy Kwanzaa. Whatever it is you celebrate, Festivus, Return of the Light, whatever it is, happy holidays to you, and I will see you next time. Hope your knitting makes you happy.